Hello, mouses! I'm hoping that the noises outside have stopped because I've had to move a computer out of here because it was whirring its fan so much while I was processing this week's Reading the Weird, which you can see on the ZJKR channel. And hopefully, by the time you see this, it'll have been uploaded. So I'll link to it when it turns up, it's great. But the moment I got the computer out of the room so that you wouldn't hear this whirring all the time, people started firing off fireworks outside. I was like, damn, I can't win today! But finally, I think they've stopped. So that's great. Let's look at what we actually want to talk about today. Today is a fantastic day for science. Not only have the guys who worked out about the Higgs boson got a Nobel Prize for it, because great, we've got another particle that explains part of our particle theory model. And that's fantastic news because, well, personally, from my point of view, I am a particle physicist. I studied particle and nuclear physics as a dual speciality when I was at Durham University. And the last thing I wanted to know was, hey, all that stuff that you had to learn that was really difficult at times, and you had to spend hours and hours poring through books just to get an idea of what was going on, all of that's wrong. I didn't want to hear that, but it turns out it's like, hey, all that stuff that you spent ages on, it was really hard, and you had to spend lots of time reading books. It's right. So I'm happy today because of that. But I'm not just happy because of that. Finally, they were talking about this when I was at university, but finally, they've got to the point where one nuclear fusion reaction has given out a little bit more energy than was used to cause the fusion reaction. It's still not to the point where the reaction is self-sustaining. It's still not even to the point where the reaction has reached ignition level, as in all of the energy that the lasers were using up to cause this reaction has been got back. We're not talking about that. The laser has a huge amount of energy, and a lot of that is lost through inefficiency in the mechanism of firing the laser. So the laser doesn't actually give out as much energy as it takes in. But that's normal. Now, what we're talking about isn't that amount of power that gets put in. It's the bit that goes out the laser and hits the actual particles. And that's not even the amount of energy that is fired by the laser. We lose a bit on the way. So we're talking about not that bit, but this little bit down here. The energy that actually goes into the particles and causes the fusion reaction. That, plus a little bit extra, has now come out of the fusion reaction. Might not seem like an awful lot, and people might look at that and think, well, why are they getting so excited? Well, it's taken about 50 years to get to that level. We're well away from fusion reactors just yet, but if this goes well, we could have a fusion reactor, or at least a working prototype, in 30 years, and that is good news, because we are going to run out of fossil fuels. And it's something I was mentioning to Jen, my wife, earlier on. I was working it out the other day. We have now got to the point where we have used up so much fossil fuel to get to this point that if we lose our civilization now and lose all this technology, we can't get it back. We've passed the point of no return. It's now we do or die. We either get all the way or we just give up and go back to caves. It's kind of that kind of level. I mean, yeah, sure, we're not going to get to cave level. We're going to have burning trees for fuel while living in wooden houses, possibly with a bit of stone. That's the kind of level we're going to get to. Horse and cart never go in the stars. If we lose our technology, that's kind of what happens, because we've used up too much of the fuel to be able to refuel another civilization. We've got to do it all now. So fusion power is the answer as far as I'm concerned. I am biased. I did study particle and nuclear physics. I like particle and nuclear physics. But honestly, fusion power, it's clean, it's efficient, it's going to work. We just need to get a working reactor, and we're well on the way now. So that's fantastic news. Other fantastic news, the BBC has got back some more Doctor Who. The missing episodes, there's 106 missing episodes. And rumours are now going around that anything between 4 episodes and 90 episodes have been found. I don't believe it's going to be 90 episodes. Partly because the only time that we're hearing 90 episodes, or even 40 episodes, is a friend of a guy who works at the BBC. So it's like, yeah. Well, I met a guy called Greg once, and he said that he was the King of New Zealand. I'm not sure it's true, but he did say it, so if I tell you, then you've heard from a friend of a friend, then it must be true. Same sort of level, really, isn't it? So I'm going to wait and see, but it looks like at least a couple of episodes have been recovered, and that's good, because that's now 104 missing episodes. Especially since one of the missing episodes appears to be from The Enemy of the World, which is a fantastic serial with Patrick Troughton playing the Doctor and the bad guy. And when you see it, if you ever see it, watch it on the Lost in Time DVD box set. It is amazing. I thoroughly recommend it. But even a couple of episodes, I'm happy about that. That's great news. If it is 90 episodes, then that pretty much gets us to the point where we can't get any more back. Because there was a serial that was fairly long that didn't get shipped over abroad. There's a Christmas special, the only Christmas special with William Hartnell, that didn't get shipped abroad. So there's a lot of the remaining 16 episodes that we can't get back. So we're pretty much then at the point where, yeah, we've got to do the animated reenactments if we ever want to see them again. So I'm happy for this. This is good news. Whatever we've got, whether it's 2, whether it's 90, I hope it is, but it's not going to be. But we can live in hope. Good news either way. Anyway, final thing I want to talk about is this brilliant prank that went on in a cafe in New York. It's an advert for a new film. It's like a remake of Carrie. But what is it with Hollywood and remakes? My goodness. Stephen King wrote a huge amount of books and is still writing books. But you're now going to go and remake one of the films that was pretty good already. You're going to remake it rather than do one of his other books that hasn't been made into a film yet. Why? Do another book. The current film was alright. But anyway, they've decided that since they're remaking this film that's already not really original because it's based on a book, they're going to need something a little bit extra to get people interested. So the special effects department rigged a cafe with books that flew off shelves, pictures that dropped onto the floor, tables that moved by remote control, and a stunt guy on a string who could be thrown up a wall. And then pretended that they had a cafe patron with psychic powers. So do not piss off telekinetics. And then he throws them against the wall. It looked really good. The reactions on the people's faces as they see this, like, yeah, that's what would happen if we ever had a superhero. That's why so many people in superhero films don't like superheroes. They're terrified of them. Because all of a sudden this person with magic powers just appears and starts throwing things around. Personally, I thought this was an amazing prank. I wish it was for something other than a remake of a film that was already pretty good. But we'll take what we've got. Anyway, I'm going to link to that as well as the Reading the Weird, so you can have a look at the full thing. It's great, it's well worth it. It's only a couple of minutes long, so it's well worth your time. And that's all we've really got time for. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like this, and I hope you did, remember to click a like button and share it with your friends so that they can see what's been going on in the world as well. And do subscribe for future videos, because there will be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching The Knob Mouse Show, and I'll see you tomorrow.